Hey, Scout. Welcome to the next episode of this unblocking podcast that I'm doing. The conceit is that I basically am taking a bunch of people from Twitter who have DM'd me and then helping them with their career progress in about 30 minutes or so. Sorry, a chair just fell behind me. Anyway, welcome. Would love to hear what you're feeling stuck on.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Andrew, for meeting with me. I'm going to say a little bit about myself and my background.
Yeah, please.
I'm, I'm 27 this year. I graduated from university in 2021. That was in the middle of COVID. And my undergraduate degree was in math. And at the time, I thought I was going to go to grad school for math and get a PhD, but I didn't. Instead, I got married and had a child. In 2022, I
Congrats.
got. Thank you very much. Yeah, actually, congratulations to you too. You became a father recently, right?
Yeah. She's 14 months old now.
Oh, very sweet, very sweet. My son is now 3 years old. So, anyways, I got married and had a child. And the same year that I had my son, I got my first job, which was a software engineer at Amazon. That was 2022. Unfortunately, I left that job after less than a year because of health issues and just I had a terrible back injury that left me unable to like sit upright, et cetera, et cetera, and a lot of bad things happened. I really regret leaving this job, but at the time, I didn't really see that I had much of a choice. So then I became a stay-at-home mom, and that has been the deal for the past 3 years. My son's now 3 years old, and he's back in school. Well, he started school. So I'm officially done with my full-time stay-at-home motherhood, and I feel like I want to do something again. But it kind of feels to me that I'm going to be launching some kind of career from scratch. And I guess my stuck points are like, what should I do? Why should I do that? And how should I do it?
Yeah.
How can I start a career from
Um,
scratch?
Okay, I'm gonna have a lot of questions. I'm gonna try to cover a lot of the territory. If you have anything else to say as context, feel free to add it now. The questions might not be coherent at first, but I'm just trying to get an actual picture of what you're doing, so I don't give bad advice at first.
Sure.
Anything else I should know?
No, go for it.
Okay,
If it,
perfect.
I'll say.
So, also just one thing that's worth saying, and I say it to most of my guests, it's like any advice that you hear from me is intended to be provocative, not necessarily to be correct. So, take any advice with a grain of salt and judge it based on your other advice and the other kind of people that you have in your life, obviously. But the reason for the provocation is so I can get a reaction, and so that I can start to understand what it is that you actually value, because we don't have very much time together, and I haven't known you very long. So,
Yeah.
the first question I have is sort of like, do you need the money from the job, or is it about the career?
Oh, goodness. I think it's about the career, but if there's no payout, then it's not motivating.
No, I mean, money's nice, sure. I'm not saying that you're going to do it for free. I'm just saying, like, do you need the money, or are you optimizing for something else?
I think I would.
It's
I
just,
don't need.
this is about timelines, really. Like, what I need to know is, like, do you need a job in the next 3 months? Do you need a job in the next 6 months? Because, like, the
No. So
goal, what we need to figure out is what your actual career goals are. If your career goal is like, I need to make 70K tomorrow, that's very different than like, I want to make $1 billion over the course of the next 20 years.
okay, thank you very much for clarifying. Yeah, so I'm probably more the $1 billion over 20 years kind of camp. So my husband supports me. I'm very grateful for that. And so it's like he has a normal corporate job. I'm not in the
Okay,
position where I
great.
need to get money ASAP, but I would like to.
So you can do whatever you want. In
I
that
can.
sense, what do you want? What is it that you want to
Oh,
accomplish with this career?
um, okay. So here's what I want. Okay, in short, I want to become somebody who does something cool. Okay.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Who are
I
cool people that have done things that are cool in the past that you're like, oh, I want to be somebody like that?
actually, somebody that I recently felt was someone very cool was Peter Levels. I'm not sure if you would be aware of
Sure.
who he.
I know Peter Levels. Yeah, he's really cool.
He's very cool. Exactly, he's very cool. I guess like what he does is considered like indie hacking or solopreneur or something like that.
Do you think
And
Jeff Bezos is cool?
I think Jeff Bezos is cool. Yes, I do think he
Okay,
is
so
cool.
Jeff Bezos is not indie. Jeff Bezos is like a C corp, but Peter Levels is indie. So you're kind of like, it doesn't. It's not about the specific type of corporation.
It's not about
Is it
this.
about business? Like, is Marie Curie? Do you know her?
She's like a physicist,
She's a famous, yeah,
famous
scientist,
female
physicist, chemist.
scientist. She's also very. She's definitely cool.
Does
Um,
that count? Like, basically, like, are you into science? Are you into business? What, you could be cool in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, that's true. I guess one of my stuck points is really not knowing what direction I should take. And I know that like kind of the obvious answer is like you should do what you're interested in, right? But like you
Not
consider my
necessarily.
oh, okay.
A
But
classic piece of advice, if like the question of what am I interested in is not obvious or isn't making the answer obvious, a classic piece of advice is something like just do the thing that uh like there's a lot of different answers. Like do the thing that's the highest status, do the thing that gives you the most options, do the thing that most people would be impressed by, do the thing that just feels easy. Like do the thing that feels like, oh, you could do it better than anybody else on earth. Like even if you're not interested in it, you're just like way better. Um, so there's a lot of different ways that we can look at it. If you do have interests or if you do have goals, we should definitely start there so that I just know kind of where you're headed. But if it's just a generic coolness, like who do you
okay,
want to be approved by? Do you want to be approved by your parents? Do you want to be approved by like the president of the United States? Do you want to be approved by like a million people on Twitter?
um okay, so I think what I'm really interested in is the prospect of making a good amount of money and being approved of by my husband and children. Uh,
Okay,
that's what
that
I
makes
really want.
sense.
Like
Yeah.
I want, like why I think Peter Levels is so cool is because like he's not corporate. He doesn't need to like buy a suit and go to work. And you know, the prospect of being corporate is not attractive to me. Like I'm not attracted to the idea of buying a skirt suit and having to do that every day. I want to be approved by my husband and children, and I want my children to look up to me and say, "Mom is someone who really did something cool. She pursued her interests. She made
Mm,
us. She enabled us to have a great lifestyle. She gave me options in life. I look up to my
yeah.
mother because she's cool and did cool things. Okay, and that's the approval whose approval that I really want. And obviously, I also want to feel good about what I do. You know, but I'm not
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
a mission driven type of person in the end. I think I'm mostly driven by the idea of making money. And like once you have money, kind of everybody approves of you. That's what I think. Or a lot of people don't approve of you for reasons that I consider,
Yeah, yeah,
illegitimate.
yeah. I know. Look, you're not gonna see me hating money. Like money's great. Yeah, definitely. If you don't know what else to get, money's fine. Although your family does seem to have a decent amount of money, so it's like worth noting just that there are types of coolness. Like for instance, um, another thing that's universally cool is to be like an extremely cited academic researcher. To be a very excited academic researcher does not necessarily give you money, but it is obviously very cool.
Yes,
And one thing that's just worth noting is like that if you compare those two things, does feel like having money feels better for you for some reason.
100%. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't want to say like money is the North Star in everything I do.
No,
The
no, of
point is that
course.
my father is very wealthy. And I'm faced with the problem that I'm not going to be as wealthy as my father. There's generational decline going on here. And my
You
child
could
will
be.
not grow up.
Okay, so you want to be wealthier than your father. You do you want to
I
be
want
wealthier
to
than
give
your
my
father?
yes, I want to give my children an
Let's go.
international childhood like I have. So I think that
Yeah.
you can
Okay.
take money as my North Star. Although, you know, it's kind of like
Yeah,
Donald
sure.
Trump said in the Art of
No,
the
no,
Deal.
let's get rich. Let's
He's
get
like
rich. That's fine. So you can get rich first, you can do
I'm
other
doing
stuff
that
later. Yeah, you're young.
he's like I'm doing this for the love of the game and money is just about keeping score. And I think that's kind of my relationship with money in the end. But I want to love the
That
game. I want to play a fun game. I want to love the game and I also want to get rich doing it.
yeah,
So
you're not going to be able to get that much money if you don't love the game. So
yeah,
I
exactly.
think that makes sense. We'll focus on money. So what is the most valuable skill that you have? Like, what is the skill where right now, just given your skills as you are, you could trade it for the most amount of money if people recognized how good you were at it? And then an answer to this could just be like, I don't have any skills, if you really believe that. But if you do have one, let me know.
Oh goodness, I'm sorry. I don't think I'm able to answer this question.
That's fine. Like because the answer is impossible to give, or like it's just you're just not sure how to evaluate your skills.
You can I mean, I think you should understand that I've been more or less isolated from society for the past 3 years. I can't really
Yeah, yeah,
figure
yeah.
what I have that would be valuable to people in a way because
Okay, that makes sense.
so I'm sorry.
How isolated? Like in your house without outside of a city?
Like, yes, in my home in the suburbs with a
Okay.
toddler, with no friends
No, that
and no
makes
family.
sense.
Um,
And is
it's,
your plan to get a
uh,
remote job here? Like you want to get rich by being on the internet, or you want to go into an
well,
office, or you want to?
now I live in Jersey City and I am very
Oh,
close
I
to
see.
my husband works in FIDI, so he commutes there and has a reasonable commute. But
Okay, so now you live in an urban area. You moved out of the suburbs.
I move out of the suburbs. But can you
Okay.
imagine, like, I
Yeah,
have
yeah, of
no
course I can imagine. Yeah, I know what you're
whatsoever.
talking about.
I can tell you what people would pay for.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think. Well, what does your husband do, if you don't mind me asking?
He works as a corporate tax attorney at a big law firm.
Okay, and when you imagine working as a corporate tax attorney at a big law firm, is that like not the type of cool that you mean?
Rather be unemployed for the rest of my life.
Okay, so it's something like you want to be like kind of an entrepreneur. You want to be kind of rebellious. You want to like own your time or like be free, but you also want to be rich. And like if you have to do some stuff to get there, that's fine.
I don't mind working hard as long I don't mind working hard. I know that in order to be successful and get you always have to do difficult and mundane things. Yes, I would prefer to own my time. I would not like to yeah, I would prefer to own my time and do my own thing. But I will also quote unquote settle for a job at a big tech firm while I try to get my
Totally.
bearings in this world as an employed and professional person. I mean, I'm starting from scratch here, you know.
Okay, other angles. So a lot of people that are very successful in life have a group of peers that are on the same trajectory as them. It's like really common pattern, happens over and over across every industry. Like Mr. Beast is a good example where he attributes a lot of his success to this group that he had where they would hang out in Skype 14 hours a day every day doing YouTube. And like they all got to over 1 million subscribers together, like on the same trajectory. And then after that, Mr. Beast just kept taking it seriously, and others of them kind of dropped off. But basically, he was just on this kind of intense trajectory with his friends from the beginning. One question I have for you is sort of like, uh, who are your peers? Who do you want to be your peers? Are you on this trajectory with anyone else, or are you alone? And you know, uh, how do you feel about that? Like, do you want that? Do you want to be like on a trajectory with a bunch of other people? Or are you okay being alone and pursuing your career alone?
I very much like the idea of being on a trajectory of other people. That's actually why I was drawn to speaking to you because you're the founder of Fractal, and I think you're taking two things together thing to a great real life manifestation. I would love to be with other people. I don't have any peers. Who else do you know that's like a stay-at-home mom in the New York City suburban area who graduated college, graduated a prestigious college with a math degree, summa cum laude, and then left their job at Amazon to be a stay-at-home mom. Nobody else is doing that. Or if they are, I don't.
I feel like there's probably like 10 of you actually. I think you think it's really uncommon, but New York's a big place. There's like 10 million people, so if you do the math, there's probably like 5 or 10 of you.
Yeah,
And find the
and,
others.
and and then out of those people, how many of them want to stop being a stay-at-home mom and become get rich as a girl boss?
No, that's what I'm saying. I feel like there's like 10 of you who all want to be girl bosses. I feel like there's like 100 moms who like are just the math stuff, and then out in the suburbs.
Yeah,
There's
I
a lot
actually
of people
met
who
one.
graduate summa cum laude in math every year in America. It's a ton. Um, okay, so this is all somewhat helpful. One question I have is sort of like, how good are you at coding? So you got this job at Amazon. Like, did you get it just because you like graduated with a prestigious career and you're really smart? Like, obviously you're smart, but are you good at software, or is this something you need to learn?
I am not good at coding, and I got this because of the new grad hiring, like low interest economy.
Yeah,
That's my honest
but
answer
you're
to that
smart.
question. I'm smart, and I believe
Like,
I can, I believe I can
yeah,
learn, and I believe I can undertake serious upskilling if it leads to some end.
my personal opinion is just like if I encountered somebody with your background, this is like exactly precisely the reason that I built Fractal. The community at large, and also Fractal Tech, specifically the boot camp, is sort of like, okay, you have somebody who wants to convert ambiguous intelligence into money. That's literally the point of Fractal Tech. It's sort of like,
That's
okay, I just built a program that's an accelerator for people who have ambiguous intelligence that they want to convert into money. So, for instance, I had a student this semester who he um, graduated. He studied English and minored in computer science. So he basically did both English and computer science. He's really smart, and he was working at some like kind of dead end startup that was not going to go anywhere for 50 grand Canadian every year. And like he just gives me a call and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm pretty confused. I feel like I'm really smart. Read these blog posts I've written, and I read the blog post, and he's a really smart guy, and he writes very eloquently. And I'm like, why are you doing this dumb job, 50K Canadian? when you could be making a lot more money. And he's like, oh, I could be making a lot more money. I'm like, yeah, you could be making a lot more money. And now it's been 6 weeks, 7 weeks since he started the program, and he has an offer that's being negotiated right now, but is going to end up settling somewhere between 150 and 200 USD. And that's his first offer, period. He could just keep searching for more offers from there. I think that archetype is really easy. Like for you, it's going to be really easy to get a job in the tech industry if you apply yourself and you have a group of peers. I think the really hard thing is actually making sure your trajectory doesn't stop. So like it's very, very easy, you know, to the audience listening, sorry, I'm not trying to trivialize this, but Scout seems talented. So it's very easy when you're very smart to kind of like speed run through a lot of the early software engineering stuff and learn a lot of the early computer science stuff and then go get a job and impress some people in a company and stuff like that. What is a little bit hard is then converting that into ownership, equity, and like increasing wealth. Partially, you need to make the right bets. So you need to make sure you're betting on the right companies. You need to make sure you're getting equity in the right projects. And then also you need to make sure that you're always on a trajectory where you're never like settling for subpar performance. That can be kind of hard because companies are kind of naturally isolating. Like once you have a full-time job, you start to like isolate yourself from your community a little bit more. And for some reason, a lot of companies are actually not, they're not perfect for growth. Like they're really good. You get a good job and you're doing good work, but then when you're there, they're not like absolutely maximizing your learning and your trajectory from that point on. So it's good that you're in the position where you don't absolutely need money. It's also probably a good instinct that you should go make it because then you learn what the market values. And then probably the main thing and piece of advice I'd give you from now is like, okay, let's say you accomplish those things. Just make sure you're still in touch with people who have good judgment that can help you continue to orient and continue to make good strategic career decisions rather than just trusting the people at your company to have your best interests in mind. You want to like make sure you have advice on both ends there.
Yeah.
Realistically, I could see you, like the trajectory I could kind of see for you that seems relatively straightforward is something like actually commit yourself to becoming good at software. And then once you're really good at programming AI software, one option is for you to become an AI researcher. You graduated in math. So AI researchers right now are making like $200 million over 4 years. Like one person got an offer for like close to $1 billion over 4 years. And that's just for individual researchers, which is insane. It probably would take you, I don't know what, like 10 or 15 years of like really, really dedicated effort to get to that level. And it might not be possible. For a lot of people, it's not, obviously. And there's going to be a lot of luck involved. But in terms of just getting AI researcher, that I think should definitely be possible. You can't, entry level AI research is hard. So what I tend to recommend to people is you basically go through software engineering into AI research with the caveat that you can't stay too long at any intermediate step. And also it's going to be stressful because you're going to be like doing work and also learning at the same time. So you're going to want to go like software engineering and then into computer science and then the ML. And then once you're doing some ML engineering, you can move into ML research. And then it's there kind of in that ML research area where you're going to need to start making novel advancements and publishing papers and kind of like making contributions to the field. There's a bunch of jobs in between those steps, like SWE at an AI company, ML engineer at an AI company, and then like some ML research jobs, I guess, where you don't need to be doing the like most important novel stuff, but also that means obviously you don't become, I don't know, like whatever $1 billion over 4 years, but you could have equity in the companies and you could end up with a big windfall. Anyway, is that like, okay, when I'm saying all that was like a lot of context. I'm
Yes.
interested in kind of like feelings in your body in response to that. Is that like, yes, that's exactly what I want, or like I don't know, now that I'm thinking about that, something about that doesn't feel right or whatever.
It kind of seems too good to be true that someone like me could do something like that. The main feeling I have is probably nervousness and excitement. And but the
Mm,
problem for me here is I also I also want to be a present mom to my child and possibly have more
yeah,
children. Wonder if that's going to
yeah,
be a huge disadvantage for me. I think all the risk taking and the fact that you can't stay too long at any position whatsoever, that bothers me less because I mean, I always envisioned that my husband would be the primary breadwinner of the family. And it's kind of like he provides a steady income. So I'm free to take risks without kind of jeopardizing, what you need from money, essentially. But I wonder if my desire to have more children and be a present parent is going to affect this. I'm a mom.
Yeah, of course. You should talk to my wife, probably. I mean, she's a mom. She's very ambitious. We're doing really big, ambitious projects together. And certainly, I mean, yeah, like it just definitely affects a lot. Uh, I think the hardest part is breaking in. So my instinct says, and I don't know, I'm not a mom, I'm a dad, so it's like a little bit different in some ways. But the my instinct is like the part that would fucking suck for me in terms of like being a really present dad for my daughter would just be the kind of initial grind. And this is what was true when I started my business too. It's like, oh, I started my business, I was running these 60-hour a week boot camps, which means I was working 60 hours a week being with my students, but then also an additional 20 or 30 hours a week running the rest of the business. So I was like really burning the candle at both ends, and also like obviously wanted to spend time with my daughter, and so just balancing all this was really really difficult. At the same time, I did do it. I relied a lot on my wife and my parents, so like I relied a lot on my family, but uh but I did do it. And I think similarly Priya could make a sort of similar decision for herself, where she's like, okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go like to an intensive really serious program in order to just for 3 months or something, like just for like some amount of time, and I'm really going to accelerate my career to get off to a good start and to put myself onto a trajectory. And then I think at that point you could kind of relax and be way way more present. And if that's possible, then I think that's something that you could do. Like I think you could balance it. You could have more kids. You could like continue on this path, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
So did Priya do the fractal bootcamp? I mean, I am considering
No,
it.
Priya did not. Priya did a different boot camp when she was younger, but not when she had a kid. And on the other hand, Priya's like helping me create, like we're creating basically businesses together. So Priya's like helping me create Fractal Bootcamp, and Priya's helping me create these other programs that we're going to start within Fractal Bootcamp. And she also has been creating this Fractal Campus Accelerator. So she's working basically every day, um, but she has a lot of flexibility in her schedule. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I see that. Um, yeah. Okay. I'm willing to work hard and I'm willing to work hard. I know that I mean, the things I want are not going to come easy, right? Like, wealth doesn't
Right.
come easy to anybody. And like, I'm willing to make the leap because like, if I knew that I wasn't willing to do it, then I would just give up.
Right.
I feel
I
that
think
this,
you can,
I
like,
have
you
to do.
have really big ambitious goals, and I think your sort of like consistent frame should be something like, how do I do the hardest thing I can do, including like it needs to include as part of the hard thing being a present mom and like building the family that I want to build. It's sort of like the hardest thing that you can do is going to be some type of a really ambitious life that basically combines your family and your work and your career and doesn't neglect any of these things, because if you're neglecting them, then in some ways like you could have done an even more ambitious version of it where you didn't neglect anything or whatever. uh and that's the really hard challenge. I'm curious, like, are there specific things that you think are going to be really really challenging or blocking to you there that you're currently struggling with?
I think balancing family and a career, I can actually make it work. And I mean, I think it's just a question. If it ever comes down to it, it's just a question of like what you're going to choose. If you hit a point where you can't advance anymore without making some sacrifices in your family life, I mean, that's when you would reevaluate, right? I mean, look at me now. I don't have anything going on, and I feel like I have plenty of like, liquidity in terms of how much like my son's in school and I basically do nothing for 8 hours a day. I have plenty of room there to take on
Yeah.
harder things. And I don't
Right.
until it starts to challenge my goals for my family. I feel like I don't really have to take this question that seriously. I would actually love to do something like the Fractal Bootcamp. Um, Unfortunately, I did review the prerequisites and find that I have some upskilling to do before I can get to that point. Do you think that's a good
I feel like
option?
you could do it pretty fast. I think it's a good option. I think Fractal Bootcamp is literally designed for people like you in specifically your life circumstances in many ways. It's a little bit more challenging having a kid, but I've had two people do the program with kids now. and we just make it work. It's part of making it work is something like you're going to suffer a little bit, and then part of making it work is that we're going to be more flexible with you a little bit, and so there's some way in which we meet in the middle and figure it out such that you're on your best trajectory, and also your family is still okay. uh,
Yeah.
and then uh, and I can introduce you to some of the people who've done my program as parents, and you can kind of talk to them about how they balance that. um, but other options I just find are going to be tricky. Like right now, you said you don't have a community, you don't have peers. Like if you already had a career, if you already had a company, if you already had peers, I think I'd have easier options for you. But without those things and without like an obvious path of interest, I mean, our program is literally designed exactly for this situation. Sort of like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I would like to go get a high status job in the tech industry. Like, okay, great.
Yeah, for sure. Well, actually, one thing I wanted to ask you is, do you have any advice for me regarding whether coding would be the thing to do? Because I think about it honestly, and I think that, I mean, I'm not a prodigious technical genius when it comes to it, and I can't honestly say that I will be the most competitive technically, and I don't really think that that's my edge necessarily. And I still want to be involved in the cool things and be at the cutting edge. I don't know if I should. Sometimes I wonder
There's
if.
just no replacement. There's no replacement for being technical. Like, there's nothing else you can do that puts you at the cutting edge. You can it's not like you can tell people what to do and not be technical. So it's not like you can be like a manager or something. Uh,
Oh,
you can like
right.
try to be a VC, but like it's not like VCs are at the cutting edge. That's not what VCs are. VCs are very much the opposite of being at the cutting edge. They invest in people who are at the cutting edge. Very different. Um, you could, I mean, those are like the main things that you could do in tech. You could like try to be a manager. You could try to be a VC. I think both of those roles are just, they're fun. Like you would be good at them, I'm sure, in some ways. It's just that's not what it's going to feel like to be at the edge. That's what it's going to feel like to be like kind of at the center.
I see. I see. Okay. And do you work with characters like that, or is
Yeah, like we
Fractal?
work with tons of managers and tons of VCs. Fractal is mostly, we don't train VCs or managers, obviously. We train engineers. Sometimes engineering managers come through our program and they take on engineering manager programs. Or we have product managers who come through. We have designers who come through. We teach a sort of full stack approach that says, like, basically our philosophy is that there is a general competency here. It is the ability to build technology. Either you have it or you do not have it. It is a 0 to 1 type of thing. Once you have it, obviously you can get better at it. There's like levels, but either you have it or you don't. And if you don't have it, I just don't like, we have no respect for people that don't have it, in a sense. That doesn't mean we don't have respect for them in their own domains, but in the domain of building technology, it's sort of like, look, either you can build the stuff or you cannot build it. If you are really, 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 really good at building stuff, then obviously I have tremendous respect. Like, you're a wizard. But if you're bad at building stuff, but you can build it, I still have a ton of respect for you. Like, that's a big deal. And it changes the way that your mind works. And it
So
changes the sorts of ideas that you're capable of conceiving of.
so people that count as builders are rare. Is that what you're saying?
People that are capable of building technology, or people that come into my program already capable.
Or like people that are capable overall, like the overall pool of competence in building is not big,
It's
is what.
very rare. I mean, tiny percent of the population of Earth is capable of building technology. It's like 0.001% or something. Very, very few
That's
people.
why you would say something like it's the best time to learn to code still, right? Because the pool of true talent is still small, is what you're saying, and
Yeah, and
that's.
also it's growing. Like right now, for instance, Shopify and GitHub are both hiring at all-time rates. They're literally hiring more than they've ever hired before. Um, a lot of the companies are realizing that if they like, why are Shopify and GitHub hiring at all-time rates? Do you have a hypothesis? I'll tell you why.
Probably still like trying to win the competition for talent right now.
Partially that it's because they learned how to train juniors on how to use AI. So at Shopify and GitHub, it is a requirement. It's a requirement that you use AI. Obviously, like you can't just not learn how to use the most powerful tools that have ever existed. You have to learn how to use them. So because those companies have figured that out, they briefly paused on hiring a little bit because they were like, whoa, like we need to do a huge organizational change and we need to change how we train people. We need to change our internal processes. And once they did change those things, they're like, okay, now we need talent. Because what they found is that entry level talent, like perhaps you in this case, actually use AI better than senior talent because they have a more open mind. They're open to this new idea. They're like not being cynical about it. They're not trying to like do things the old way. And this has always been the case in tech. It's sort of like new people
I
disrupt
mean, it's like
old incumbents.
young people
And
feel, yeah.
yeah, so I'd say, first of all, don't count yourself out. Second of all, I feel like if you are good at math, what like you are what is needed in software right now, just because ML is just all math. That's just that's what it is. There's a lot of math being done in ML. You could say it's algorithms. It's like not really algorithms. It's like mostly just a lot of linear algebra. Hopefully you like linear algebra, but
Hey, I love linear algebra. I want to teach it to my
if you
kids.
love linear algebra, you're like people like you are getting paid $200 million to do software. I mean, it's crazy. Now, again, it's not like you can just do that right away or you can do that overnight. Like that requires a lot of hard work and some lucky things as well, some lucky breaks. And we're probably in a bubble right now. You know, there's all these things kind of stacked up. And also, on the other hand, I said like 0.01% of people are capable of building technology in the first place. That's true. So if you become one of those people, you're in a very elite group of the population. But then the second thing that's important here is amongst those people, the ones who can do linear algebra, that's like 0.1%. It's like 0.1% of the people who can build technology, and then 0.1% of those people can do linear algebra. And
I
you might
feel
think
like
that's insane
like
because
doing
for
linear
you, linear
algebra.
algebra is easy. No, they could learn it, but they've never done it before.
Right, okay, I see. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say harder classes, but yeah.
But like liking it is a big deal, and also being willing to study is a big deal because a lot of software engineers don't study. They're just like, you can think of software engineers as on a spectrum, and the spectrum goes from like very high skilled and well paid. I mean, honestly, not even like you can the spectrum goes from like literally plumbers, like the equivalent of plumbers but just for computers, and then all the way, and by the way, no shame to either plumbers or software engineers in that case. Like, great, you're doing really important work and you're like helping companies solve their problems. But it goes from there all the way to like, is inventing things that shape the nature of the universe. Like it's like shape everything that we know about everything. And all those people exist within the domain of like, I work with computers.
Yeah.
Um, so so obviously you get to decide, first of all, where on the spectrum you are right now, and also like how you move along the spectrum based on what you read and study and research and who you work with and who your peers are. And I don't think you're allowed to be in on that spectrum at all until you work with the computer every day. And then once you do, obviously you can start to place yourself.
Yeah, that's what I want, I think. I feel like once you have an environment, it's much easier to try to rise to the top of that environment. But if you're
Correct.
in a
Yes.
position like me where you're not in any environment, then it
Yeah.
feels very
I
hard
think
to.
a good choice for you would to do, like, if I just had to guess and throw it off the top of my head, it would be something like do a program like Fractal Bootcamp so you don't need to worry about it. Like you don't need to worry about whether or not you're going to succeed or not. It's like you have a bunch of other people whose job it is to make sure you succeed. Then from there, get a job at a company that's going to give you a lot of mentorship. So and either get that job by like strategically picking an intermediate job and then moving there or whatever. But honestly, you're pretty smart and you used to be in FANG. So realistically, that just means like go get a job at FANG. We have a bunch of friends in FANG. We can probably get you interviews. Then the question is, can you pass the interviews? But you also
So you
graduated
said
with
that I
masters.
shouldn't stop lead coding.
We'll do lead code when you're in our program also. So honestly, you should probably stop lead coding for a little while and focus on actual coding, and then you can go back to lead coding. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
But yeah, if you enjoy lead code, just keep doing it. And
I do
then
enjoy lead code. I find it fun. Um,
okay, also like yeah, it's just gonna be so easy. We can probably just get you a job at FANG. Like you can do our program, and then you just have a bunch of people devoted to the task of helping you break back into FANG. And then from being in FANG, as long as you don't give up your friendships in the tech industry and like you keep pushing yourself, then you can kind of have like little clubs and groups of people where you do a bunch of additional studying on top of your jobs. And then you can kind of start to position yourself. Maybe you go work in an AI lab. And then from working at the AI lab, maybe you go and do something else. Or maybe you start your own company after working at FANG. Or, you know, obviously at that point, you'll be in such a different position that you can orient very differently than how you're orienting right now.
I can only dream. So it feels like I should really do something like the Fractal Bootcamp or the Fractal Bootcamp, so I can be in an environment where I can start moving, basically.
That's I think your case is easy personally. Yeah, like some people are really stuck on like a bunch of emotional blocks and like it's really hard for them. You literally already worked at Fang. You seem like you're emotionally in a good place and you
Do you
seem like
have
you're smart and
advice
you're
for
ready to
people who
learn.
aren't emotionally in a good place? Do you have advice for people who aren't in an emotionally good place, or do you like
Yeah,
wash
of
your head?
course. Of
Oh, you,
course. Yeah.
why don't you
I,
hit me? I feel that
well, I don't know
I
what your emotional problems are. It sounds like the main problem you have is loneliness and like malaise, which like yeah, my advice for people with loneliness and malaise is go hang out with a bunch of people who are happy and optimistic and working hard.
I have loneliness and malaise, and I feel like demotivation. Like I feel that the fact that I have to do a lot of upskilling, that's very
But if you
hard.
were surrounded by a bunch of people who were really having fun upskilling, would you feel demotivated or would you just be like, yeah, this is fun?
No, I think I would think that it's really fun, but as it
Yeah,
stands,
so that's why I feel like the case is easy for somebody like you. Like somebody in your case, just go to Fractal Bootcamp, your problem's solved. You're just gonna like you're literally gonna spend like 700 hours coding. You're gonna upskill. There's no option not to upskill. Like you're gonna have a bunch of mentors who are forcing you to upskill, even if you don't want to. But you will want to because you're
do you
gonna be
ever
surrounded
kick
by a bunch
people
of
with
people.
emotional problems out of Fractal Bootcamp? Like
I try to
I feel
screen them out before they join, and then if
so. Why don't you
I
hit?
somehow make a mistake, if I somehow make a serious mistake, then yes, I will if they can't complete the program. But if we can work through the emotional problems together, so like sometimes I take on the role of emotional coach, sometimes I take on the role of like software coach, and if we can kind of work through the problems, uh, not like they need to stop feeling bad, but more like they can get their work done even if they do feel bad, uh, then they tend to start feeling better because people often feel better when they're getting a lot of work done, and then that tends to get them far enough that they can like get a job, and then they have this job, and now they have this like sort of self confidence. So I don't know. I kind of make an assessment based on how the person's doing, but we talk about it.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
Are you worried about this? Are you worried about being kicked out of the program?
No, I'm like people tend to say that I come across as intelligent and emotionally balanced. Well, I'm not going to argue with the intelligent part because that's an assessment someone is making about me. Emotionally balanced, I feel like I don't know. I haven't been in a pressure filled environment in a long time. Like in undergrad, so I went to undergrad at Columbia, which I purposely did not want to mention because I didn't want to come across as like, "Oh, I went to an Ivy League school, respect me," you know. And that's also not my relationship with that school.
Also,
Um,
Columbia grads aren't even that good. Anyway, sorry.
that's so true. That's literally so
It's
true.
true. I know. It's just true. It's just true. I've talked
And
to a lot of
I know
Columbia grads.
people.
Anyway, no offense to Columbia grads who are listening to the podcast. I like you.
Oh my gosh, I literally know people from my program that I'm like, why? Like, how you are like admissions mistake? Like, admissions made a mistake with you. I mean, I don't.
Okay, I'm not gonna say that. That's too mean. But
I'm not the best of the best. Like at Columbia, even though
yeah,
I was a summa cum laude student and very high performing, I knew that there were brilliant people in my vicinity, and that I wasn't one of them. But yeah, anyways, that was the last really high pressure environment I had been in, and I think it was very hard for me. And I did have a lot of like mental breakdowns. Like I cried when it was like time for a final, et cetera, et cetera,
yeah.
et cetera.
I promise our program is not like part of the problem with university is that it's not well structured to motivate people. So we have like motivational science that we do to help people. Like a lot of the stuff is sort of like if you're in a tribe of people who like to see you every day and they're all working hard together, you have like incredible motivation. I've found that undergraduate degrees feel very lonely. People feel very confused. The motivation is not obvious. It's like why am I doing this? Is kind of a consistent question. There's a lot of problems with how undergraduate degrees structure uh, their program that I do not think you're going to struggle with. And again, like I've taught 50 students now, and I've helped all of them get jobs. We have a 100% placement rate. I have like a decent read on people based on first conversations. We can have more conversations, but realistically, this is not going to be the hardest thing that you've ever done. This is more just going to be like one of the most intense work environments that you've ever been in. But you're going to enjoy the intensity. It's not going to be something that like is emotionally or psychologically grueling.
Okay, great. So let me just review. I guess this whole thing will be posted somewhere, so I would be able to
Yeah,
refer
yeah, yeah,
back to.
definitely.
Okay, yeah. So I guess, well, I want to say thank you. Thank you very
Yeah,
much for this.
yeah, I'm happy to help. Generally, like the overall review that I have is sort of like we can't cover every problem in one podcast, but like one of your core questions seems to be, am I capable of breaking into a high tech industry? And my answer is just yes. Yes, you're capable of that. You can do that.
Wow, thank you. It means a lot, especially coming from you. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, have a good day. I have to pop off, but if
Yes,
you
I
have
know.
any further questions or whatever, feel free to DM me privately.
Yes, I'll reach out about Fractal and get on preparing to be get on preparing the prerequisites. Okay.
Yeah, and just come by the space. Come visit my students. Say hi.
Oh, I will. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the invite.
Cool.
Great.
Okay, bye.
Bye.